Hello everybody, my name is Lynette and welcome to my garden. In today's video, I thought we would take a little evening stroll around and look at some of the plants that are in bloom. It's just about the end of daylily season. There are still some in peak, so we'll be looking at those. I also thought we could do a little update on some of the projects that I've worked on in past videos. If this is something you find interesting, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join me as we do a little walkabout and check things out. I thought we'd start our tour right here by this beautiful phlox. I'll put the name on the screen. I believe it's a Proven Winners, and it's a corally red color. It just glows during the night. A lot of the daylilies, as I mentioned, are done blooming, but we still have some that are growing strong. I did do a little bit of a video, I believe, on this redbud, my weeping redbud, where I lost the central leader. It was about 2.5 feet up there and the top died this winter, so I am starting a new leader and it's going to be growing up this pole, I hope. I'm going to have to keep training it up there, but so far so good. Things are doing really, really well. Still got some pretty daylilies in bloom. We also have back here a rose of Sharon. And then I have some white lilies that are doing okay. I do have lily beetles here. So my lilies, I don't try and grow them anymore. These are ones that I've just had. They keep coming back. I'm not replacing them because I just don't want to deal with the lily beetles. Another project we worked on earlier this year was over the winter, this Siberian pea split. And I can show you where the split was. If we go in here, and you see the split right there? Those two branches actually split. They were almost off, and we just put screws into them to hold them on, and the tree never skipped a beat. You can't even tell that those branches were in such bad shape. So if you have a branch that's coming off and it's small like that, try putting a screw into it and see if that will save the plant for you. We've got some black-eyed Susans with some phlox, and then we have some crocosmia. This is a pretty yellowy orange one. More phlox in bloom. Daylilies. Some of them are still growing strong. Scotch thistle in the background. That is going to be taken out pretty soon. It's time to take them down. And then this is a pretty little section in the garden. Looks nice and full. I love when the garden is full like this. That's what I'm trying to achieve throughout the whole garden. And we just keep coming around here, and we have some more lilies in the background. This is a butterfly bush. I don't remember which one. I think it's Miss Molly. And there's some pretty lilies back there. And some more daylilies. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them for me. Unfortunately, I don't remember a lot of the names of the daylilies. This is just a pile of leaves that I need to get rid of. I use the leaves as mulch. And that was just a little storage space for me. Now, this little section, in the background, there is some hibiscus, the hardy hibiscus, and I moved them because they were in an area that was a little too shady, and I put them here this year. I'm pretty pleased with how much they've grown. I think in years to come, they're just going to get a little bit bigger, and I think it looks really nice with the black-eyed Susans. And then this is the Victoria salvia. It's an annual that I wish I had put in my container pots instead of the Mystic Blue salvia. I think it would have been better to have the tall Mystic Blue here in the garden and the shorter Victoria salvia in the pots. Limelight hydrangeas, you can see the blossoms are starting to form on there, which is really nice. Although a lot of these plants I associate with the end of summer. And as we go around the corner here, you can see some more black-eyed Susans. And then another project that we did earlier, I did a Chelsea chop video. We took these garden phlox and we Chelsea chopped them late. I think it was mid-July or maybe even the beginning of July. And what we did is we chopped these that you're seeing down here. We chopped them almost to the ground and we left the purple ones in the back. We didn't touch them. So we can see if we can get the ones that we chopped later to grow up and bloom later in the season. That'll give us an extended bloom period. But right now the phlox is coming on strong, which is nice because as the daylilies are fading, the phlox is starting to come on, which is what you want. You want this continuous season of bloom, but it's always nice to have different things. You know, I would like to have more than just phlox in bloom this time of the year. And then we also did this project where we put the midnight something, moonlight something, the astilbe, which is this dark astilbe. We put that in front of the Centaurea macrophylla, which is a basket flower. But the basket flower blew over in the storm, if you remember, so I had to cut back the first row of it, and you can see how nicely that's come back. The back row was blooming okay, so I left that, and I just went in recently and cut that back, and you can see some of that is growing in. And it's turning out rather nicely. There's a nice little layer going on here. So you can see this, the lamb's ear in front, then we have the astilbe, and then we have that Centaurea, and in the very back we have the white phlox. I know a lot of people don't get into orange daylilies. They think they're just the basic ditch lilies, but this one is called orange voles, and I think it just is so, so pretty. And I love it with the purple behind here. It picks up a little bit of the orange that's in the coneflower. Then we have the spider plant from Proven Winners. We have some more lilies way in the back there. And then if we scan over this way a little bit, you can see there's some blue globe thistle coming up. And we're going to keep walking over this way because this is kind of a little wild area here in front of the Annabelle hydrangeas. We've got some calamintha in the very front. And I think that was a perennial plant of the year a few years ago. We've got some verbena, and then some coneflowers coming up, and then we've got the Annabelle hydrangeas. It's a little wild in here. My grasses just aren't doing too much this year. I don't know why. We have some Nicotiana. This has come up for me the past couple years. I don't know that it's reseeding because I mulch so heavy. I think the plants are actually coming back on their own. And we keep coming this way. We've got some more daylilies. We've got some sedum autumn joy. And then we have this bright, bright pumpkin yellowy orange daylily. Now, as I mentioned, I don't know what a lot of my daylily names are, but I do remember when I was buying them, I bought quite a few that were the Chicago series. So there's Chicago Ruby, Chicago Purple, Chicago Gold, Chicago Rosy. So some of these might be them. If you want to look for Chicago series daylilies and see what you can find, that might help you. Now the 9 bark right here, if you remember, was totally, well, not totally destroyed. It was very beat up from the snow, and I really thought I was going to have to take it down to the ground, but then I thought, no, it's struggling enough. I'm just going to let it go. Oh my gosh. I think piling it with snow and breaking it was the best thing that happened to it. Although it is getting too big. Next year, it's going to get a hard rejuvenation prune. Even though I absolutely love this section of the garden. I love the dark 9 bark next to the leaves of this hydrangea that has these really dark stems. I wish it would bloom because I think that would just be even better, but I just think the contrast is fantastic. And then you come over and you find the miscanthus grass with this salvia, this purple salvia from Proven Winners. Just looks so nice and full. And then the nicotiana in front and these beautiful daylilies as you come around the side. These are a good, I would say about 4.5 to 5 inches across. Really nice little daylilies here. And as we keep coming down around the corner, and I'm picking mosquitoes off my face, sorry if the phone starts shaking. You come to this area of the garden where I trimmed up the tree limbs earlier, and this is going to be planted with some shade-loving plants. But right now it's a little too hot to do it, but it's on the books for the next couple of weeks that we're going to be getting this stuff in. You can see I have the Hackenicola that I put in this year. There is some Proven Winners Goat's Beard in the back, and then there's hellebores right here. But I'm hoping to continue the shade garden because the shade garden is just looking so wonderful. Last year I did a video on taking coleus cuttings and I overwintered them in my garden, or in my basement. And these are the coleus cuttings that I've put into the garden from those cuttings from last year. I plan on doing the same thing again this year. I'm going to be taking coleus cuttings probably in the next 2 weeks because I just love the coleus in this shade garden. And I have some Kong coleus that I hope I can get to overwinter as well. And let's see, we've got more coleus here. I'm hoping this is showing up pretty on the screen for you. I went around and took this video already, only to find out that the sound wasn't working. So I'm out here trying to duplicate something that I have already done. And let's see, let's go over here because I did a video earlier in the year on cutting back. I did a rejuvenation prune on my Weigelia Pink Princess, and these shrubs were a good 6 feet tall and at least 6 feet wide. I cut them right down to the ground, and look how good they're doing. Look how good they're doing. Much better than I even expected. In the background, I put some cosmos. Disappointed in that. Not doing much. But this nicotiana in the front is making up for it. It is just so pretty. It's so delicate and light. And the bees and the hummingbirds are just all over this. Got some echinacea. And I think I grew these rudbeckia from seed. I'll have to look it up. But they're really nice. I like that one. All right, let's continue along this way. Hopefully we can get this. Can you see how pretty and blue? It's a bluey purple, this phlox is. I think I got it from White Flower Farm. It's almost a delphinium purple blue as compared to the phlox way back there. You can see it's more of a fuchsia purple. And this is a bluish. It's really pretty. Liking that. Sometimes it's so nice to find the right plant. Then we've got some orange crocosmia here, which looks really nice with that bluey purple. And then we have, I think this is called Bleeding Hearts. It's a Heliopsis. I got the seed from Gilletto's. And then this is Firetail Persicaria, which is very happy and will be divided next year because it's getting very, very big. But I love the bold texture of those leaves. Then this is our little milkweed patch for the monarchs. We keep coming down here, and the millet has survived the rabbit munching and is growing strong now. Would be much better if it didn't get eaten down to the ground earlier. We have Montauk daisies. We have another group of pretty, pretty lilies there. Thank goodness those lily beetles didn't find them. Now, this tall bush in the center of your screen is a bloomerang lilac, and it is reblooming. Probably can't see it because of the lighting, but I did do a rejuvenation prune on this, and if you look down here you can see all of that is the lilac that is coming back. Therefore, I am going to be taking this center section off and just letting that back section grow. Oh, what is that? Right there with those big leaves? That is a catalpa tree. And that's going to have to be removed because that must be a seedling from that tree right there. And I don't think I want a tree that big in this part of my garden. That's just a pretty little view through the trees here. You can see the onions, or the allium, are starting to bloom. And then this is a nice little combination with the 9-bark, this bright orange daylily with the blue hydrangeas in the back. Can't you just picture this in a few years when that's all filled in? It's going to be so, so pretty right there. And as we continue around here, we have some more phlox. I believe this is called Bright Eyes phlox. And I'm going to try and zoom in on something here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not. That's a little sphinx moth floating around. He's really going to town. As I said, I think this is Bright Eyes phlox, which is an old-fashioned variety. We have Hardy Mums in front of that. That's the Igloo series. And then this beautiful, beautiful daylily. And that's, my goodness, that's got to be about a 6 or 7 inch flower right there. It's so nice that you can get daylilies that bloom at different times. So there's early blooming daylilies, there's late blooming daylilies, mid-season. And as we come around this part of the garden, I want you to close your eyes and don't look at this mess, because that's just a whole bunch of Heliopsis that has reseeded in there and desperately needs to be taken out. Okay, you can open your eyes now, and we're back. We've got some hostas going here. And a pretty little view through the garden. We've got the banana cream. We have some that are still in bloom and doing pretty good. Really need to be deadheaded. And then back here we have the verbena bonaries from Proven Winners that I put in here to replace the pugsters. You can see there's one pugster butterfly bush that survived. I had 3 in there and only 1 survived. That's why I put in the purple verbena. I thought that would be a nice alternative. And then my crocosmia, next year I have to stake it up, put some cages in there because it just crashed. And then down here are dahlias. These overwintered. Last year was the first year I put in dahlias, and these little dahlias came back. I think they were proven winners variety. I'm not 100% sure. And we're going to continue around this way. You can see I've got to cut back some stuff, but the Echium I let go to seed, so that's got to go about another week. I'm going to let my clary sage go to seed as well, because my source that I used to buy it from is no longer selling it, so I'm going to have to let it go natural here, and hopefully I'll get some seedlings next year. Every once in a while I let weeds come in the garden, and this Queen Anne's lace, I just love it. Every once in a while you get a plant that just grows so beautifully. This one is tall, very vase shaped, light and airy. I love that it kind of blows in the wind and bounces. Just adds some movement to the garden, which I think is so needed. And we're going to keep coming this way. We have a pot of Gomphrena. And then we are pretty much right back where we started almost 20 minutes ago. But what I would like to do is take you out front for a second here. So let's head around. Now you're going to have to ignore the lawn because we don't irrigate and it's been so hot and dry. The lawn takes a beating. So let's go up here. Now I have a question for all of you. If any of you are growing wee white hydrangeas, are they doing this for you? Are they getting this ratty looking color? I know these are being grown in full sun, but I really wish they didn't dry out quite like they are. Is anybody else having this issue? I need to go in and deadhead. In the past I have deadheaded them and they will start to put on blossoms again, but my season isn't long enough for them to reflower. So if some of you are in a warmer climate, you may be able to grow wee white deadhead and get a second flush. My flower buds get ready to open just as the frost is hitting, so I just can't get the second flush out of them. And I would get in here and deadhead these, but I have a problem that I can't get in here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. Oh, here it is right here. But if you can see that nice little round hole right in the center of your screen, that's a hornet's nest. There are hornets that are going in and out, and we have sprayed a couple times and we just can't seem to kill them. But I'm not going to jump in this garden and start deadheading if there's a chance of me getting stung by a whole bunch of yellow jackets. All right, let's head out front. You can see that the fountain is still going. The fish are getting really big. The hostas are getting a little crispy. I expected that this year because I divided them last year and their roots just haven't established as well as they really should to handle all this heat. They do get a little crispy regardless, but you can see these in front that I divided are much smaller than, say, this one back here, which wasn't divided, and you can see the difference in them. So it's just going to take a little time for them to catch back up. Let's head out front. I did do a video on my containers. I evaluated them and did some maintenance. If you're interested in learning about my containers, please watch that video. And as we come out to the front here, you can see I still have some daylilies in bloom. And of course we have the begonias that are doing so well underneath the beech or birch trees. And my hostas under here are, or under the trees, are still doing well. And believe it or not, I have no slug damage. No slug damage at all. And before I jinx myself, I'm gonna knock on wood. These hydrangeas that we put in, or this one that we put in this year, the tall one we put in last year, look at that. Look at that pretty bloom. But I'm growing it for the foliage alone. If I don't get blooms, that's okay. A bloom is a bonus. But as we turn around, you can see all my hostas are doing really well. They're getting a little crispy, which is understandable because I don't give supplemental water. But for the most part, for this time of year, I am really, really pleased with how fresh they look. Look at that. That is really beautiful. And these over here, you would never guess that we are in August with how fresh those leaves look on the hostas. I wish I could tell you why. All right. Let's head out front and do a quick little walk around the daylilies, see if there's anything there worth mentioning. The daylily ditch, or the ditch lilies that are out front, are all done blooming. All that you can see right now, or the ditch lilies that are out front, are all done blooming. All that you can see right now are all their scapes or flower stalks are sticking up in the air. Not the prettiest look, but they do give us a nice amount of privacy during the season, so we're just going to have to live with it. And then here are the daylilies. They're just about done, but there are some nice ones in here. This one I know is North Wind Dancer. And then we have Crocosmia here. This is Lucifer. I think I showed you the yellow variety out in the garden as well as the orange one. But the daylilies are pretty much done, which is kind of depressing because I don't want summer to be over. It's been so nice, and these past few days have been just fantastic. But there's still some pretty ones in here. And it's nice to come out in the morning and look at them, and you can see the bees on them. Are any of you guys daylily fanatics? And if so, what daylily society do you belong to? I used to belong to one. I haven't for a number of years now. Now, I did divide up daylilies earlier this season, and I potted them all up, and they're on the patio right now. I put a note on Facebook Marketplace to see if there were any 501c3 organizations that were looking for plants for a beautification project. I had a couple reply, but we haven't finalized anything yet. So if I do hear from them and we do put something together, I'll be sure to take you guys along and share that project. You can see we have to get back out here and trim the river birch again because they just keep growing and growing and growing. So anyway, I think we have just about done a full scope around the garden. So I thank you so much for joining me today for this little evening stroll. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe. And please, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask, as I am just enjoying sharing my garden with all of you so much. So have a great night, get out into your garden, and have some fun.